Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll use the other one. That's all right. Hello. Okay. So I was saying, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be joining you today after what Patrice alluded to, which is to us a marathon of unveilings around New York State. It's delightful to see the weather cooperating today as well. Depends, sometimes you can plan as much as you want, but if the weather doesn't cooperate, it really has the potential to ruin an event single-handedly. So it's not the case today. We're very happy about that. I also want to thank Walter Gable. I got an email one day, randomly from a gentleman in Seneca County, New York, and he's interested in getting a marker for his town, Waterloo, New York, which is absolutely on the Lafayette, on the itinerary of Lafayette. And Walter, you have been persistent, you have been efficient, you have been strong, and you and I have been working together for quite many months now, and we were able to get this done. And it really is a great addition on the Lafayette Trail. I do want to acknowledge also a couple of our partners as well. So we do have Carrie Burst of the William G. Pomeroy Foundation here with us. I do want to thank you for joining us in person. I was pointing out privately, it's very rare when we have a chance to have a representative of the foundation with us, because we do marker unveilings all over the country, from Mississippi to Maine. And the William G. Pomeroy Foundation being physically in Syracuse, New York, it can be challenging probably to travel around the country based on your very heavy schedule. So I'm glad you took some of your time today to join us, and thank you I hope you will join us in the future also. Also want to acknowledge the presence of Patrice Berner, the state regent of the New York Daughters. You'll see this marker is the result of a co-partnership between the Lafayette Trail, the William G. Pomeroy Foundation, and the New York Daughters. There are a few states outside of New York that do have also co-sponsored markers, but the reason why New York has so many of those is because Madame Berner, the state regent, has made it the state project of her administration. I think it shows your vision, that you understand basically the power of Lafayette's legacy. I think he has an amazing diplomatic potential. You think about the tour in 1824, and like the American Revolution. What fascinates me about the tour is that, unlike the American Revolution, the tour reconciles the American Revolution with the entire geography of the country at the time. I'm able to go to small towns in Indiana or Illinois, and I can talk to them about the visit of Lafayette. I think it provides a level of detail and specificity with each community across such a huge geography that is simply amazing. So I just ask yourselves, actually, who else in early American history has the potential to talk to so many Americans across such a huge geography? That to me is the real potential of Lafayette. That's also why we are here, Walter. I believe that the tour of 1825 is very well documented. Lafayette had, as the last surviving major general, every single spotlight, or I should say every single newspaper, covering every single one of his moves every day. And so as a result, we have an extensive amount of information. Carrie pointed out that each marker is thoroughly researched by professional historians. We do spend a lot of time with your historians. I have to say we have a lot of fun talking about those newspapers and the anecdotes. It's really a rich, I encourage you to check out all the documentation that is available for the tour. Of course, we are in a town called Waterloo, New York. Of course, Waterloo we know very well in Europe, especially in my home country of France. We did have 15 years, I should say 14, under Napoleon, basically at the very beginning of the 19th century. It was a period when I was growing up in France. They teach you about Napoleon's, basically France under Napoleon being very strong in Western Europe and beyond, okay, all the way to Russia. And Waterloo happens. And it's a milestone. And it's taught basically in French books today. Now, in Waterloo, New York, we're going to celebrate not the defeat of Napoleon, but we're going to celebrate American freedom. And we're going to do that by talking about Lafayette. I also want to tell you about my personal reason why I decided to join this project in the first place. I was pointing out, I believe that Lafayette has untapped diplomatic potential. I believe that he was an abolitionist. He was a friend of the Native Americans. He sincerely believed that what would Tocqueville write about later, a few years later, that the United States was announcing a new age for mankind, an age where individual rights born to man would be protected by a constitution. So he saw that in North America there was a struggle taking shape for the establishment of such a society. And he decided to join. He didn't have to, trust me. I've seen where he came from. He had a lot of personal wealth. He was one of the richest aristocrats in the country, and both his parents had passed away at a very young age. So he inherited a lot of money, and basically he was a kid. He was a teenager with what would now be billions of dollars. And it's really never a great idea to give that such a fortune, an amount of wealth to a kid, because he may decide to spend it in very risky investments. Now, at that time, a very risky investment is called the American Revolution, because you are facing one of the, most powerful powers in the world at the time, England. And Lafayette is going to join you nevertheless. He believed, he expressed a faith in what America would become. And I think 197 years later, to this day, when he was in Waterloo, I think we can celebrate his vision, his trust in America. And I think we can try all together to do justice to his legacy. I think we do that very well today, thanks to the hard work of so many. I do want to say, as much as the tour of Lafayette includes very happy stories, one thing that wasn't pointed out just yet is what happened in Waterloo. A captain by the name of J.L. Parsons was actually killed accidentally by the firing of a swivel, what is it in English? Swivel. We have the documentation to actually prove that, and we believe it was a really unique story to show that people were taking risks even in celebrating Lafayette's visit to their town, even if that could put their own lives at risk. Mr. Parsons passed away honoring Lafayette. We thought it was a great idea to commemorate also his life and the fact that he contributed to receiving Lafayette in a glorious manner on June the 8th. Patrice pointed out that 2 days ago we were at West Point. It was June the 6th. It was the 78th anniversary of D-Day. To me, I believe in the Franco-American alliance. We have up and downs as usual. Freedom fries before my time, but I think with Lafayette we can really see the big picture. We can really see that France supported America when no other country dared to officially join the fight for American independence, and that's mostly thanks to people like Lafayette. And so today, as we gather to honor his visit to Waterloo, I invite you to also see the big picture in what drove him to these shores. Remember, in the 1820s, the Erie Canal is being developed, and Lafayette, 40, 50 years later, he will continue to serve America. He will continue to do things that he believes are in the national interest of the United States. And one of those things is going to endorse the Erie Canal, a very contentious project at the time. We do have an amazing episode of Follow the Frenchman that was produced thanks to the help of the New York Doubters. It takes place in Syracuse. It's 13 minutes long. If you want to check it out on YouTube for free, you can do that. And it really explores how this whole area here fits into the development of the Erie Canal. I think it's an interesting topic, especially around here. But I want to reserve the last reminders of my remarks for when we actually dedicate the sign. I do want to comment on the design. I think it speaks for itself as well. However, I don't believe that my remarks would be as effective with the cover still on. So I will defer a little bit to later. But I do hope that you will remember what Lafayette did for this country. You will remember why 197 years later there's a Frenchman, 28 years old, that shows up in your town to talk about Lafayette. So hopefully you will see that we can all together keep his legacy and memory alive, and why it matters to keep celebrating his legacy. So I hope you will cherish this marker, and I hope you will follow everything we do on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow our YouTube channel as well, and please consider becoming a member of the Lafayette Trail for an annual dues of $50. You'll get emails about every single of the dedications that we put together when we can, as well as links to the videos when they're out. We have 15 episodes out on YouTube. We have 5 more that are being edited, and we look forward to many more coming next year, thanks to the amazing support of the New York Dollars in particular. We'll be back in New York. We will look forward to doing an episode about the Finger Lakes region, and sure, we do hope to show the marker in that video. Thank you, Walter, for inviting me today. Thank you all for turning out on such a beautiful day, and vive Lafayette. Thank you. Ready? Right. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. This is a Kodak moment in case you haven't noticed.
Can I do a few real quick?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Please do.
No, go ahead. I just wanted to comment on the design because, on a historic marker you have the text, but the text is not the only part of the marker that speaks to the audience. I believe also the design speaks to the audience in a different way. So Patrice has heard me say that a few times over the past few days, but the markers are blue, white, and red. So I say they honor the colors of France and of the United States. Now, most of you here would probably say they honor the colors of the United States and France. I think eventually we can meet somewhere in the middle. I think they honor, the way we can actually agree on this is they actually honor Lafayette's role in both our nation's histories. That's, I think, the way to put it together. And so the text is white, it's very clear. The background is blue. The frame is red, and every time you see a logo on top, it's part of our marker program. We have 5 lines of text. We always start with the same design. The date on line 1 plus the military title of Lafayette and the Continental Army. We wanted to do that because Lafayette, as you might know, was a marquis by birth in France. A marquis is a social marker. No joke about marker, but it is a social marker because it indicates a certain wealth and a certain position in the social ladder. Now, his entire life, what Lafayette fought for was a more egalitarian society. So we think that by putting the word general, we refer to what he actually wanted to do, serve the ideals of America versus his birthright as a marquis in France. So we think it's a very powerful statement also to write general on line 1. And then, we see these markers as hot spots, as points of entry into the topic. So hopefully somebody's gonna drive by, walk by the Lafayette Park, take a look at the sign, and then going back home, going on the computer, maybe Google the Lafayette Trail and find one of our 3 organizations and additional resources we do have to tell a more in-depth story. So these are our 5 lines. We wanted to focus on the event I described, so the killing of Captain J.O. Parsons. And at the bottom, we do have the co-sponsors of these markers. So we do have the New York Dollars of the American Revolution, represented by their state regent, Patrice Berner, and the William G. Pomeroy Foundation, represented by their executive director, Carrie Burse. And right over here, you have the year when the marker was done. And down at the bottom right corner is the number on our series. So at this point, this is marker number 89, and we have confirmed so far 95 markers. So I remember when the first one was confirmed in Whitehall, New York, let's see if we can do 10 of those. And now we're pushing 100, so I'm very happy that this has taken shape like it has. And they are two-faced. So to this day, the second side has always been the same as the one over here. And I'm just making sure it's the case here also, and it is. So it really is a home run. Thank you, though. Thank you, Walter.
I would like a very special round of applause for our very distinguished guests that are here today. One more time. Thank you so much for your presence. It so greatly adds to our joy here in Waterloo, New York. Thank you, everyone. If any of you didn't get a copy of the brochure, there are more on the table. You probably will want to take your own pictures of the marker, and you're welcome to do that. On the table here in the front, I do have a collage of pictures. It does take a great deal of people doing different kinds of tasks to make such a marker become a reality. And one of those tasks is to dig the hole and put the pole in concrete in the hole and then put the marker on the pole. And so I have a collage of pictures here on the table that shows our Seneca County Highway Department staff, and there, two of them are there in the back, Roy Gates and Matt Roberts. All you have to do is say to Roy, we have this task to do, and he makes it a reality. So thank you, Roy and Matt, for that, and thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you so much.